Welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Mike Favetta.
And I'm Cara DeFalco. And Mike, there's a new kind of concert coming to Whippany. Chasing Tornadoes is a Wizard of Oz-inspired musical concert created by Rob Fusari and DiLauri. They're here now to tell us all about their unique program. Robin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Robin and Rob, this is so exciting. Growing up in Hanover Township and being a meteorologist, this sounds right up my alley. So my inner child is very excited. Can you give us a brief synopsis of the show?
Do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Sure. It's a show about, like the Wizard of Oz, finding home. And for Robin and myself, home is part of our friendship and how the music has intertwined with our lives and our paths of, we started together and then we kind of went different paths. And through the music, we came back together, and it just strengthened our bond and it strengthened our sense of home. So it's really about, the journey of, finding yourself through the music and through our friendship.
I love that. That's really beautiful. What's something that you want the
That really
audience
was beautiful. I mean, that really was great. Word for word, it was just well put.
Oh.
You guys are really cute. What's something that you want the audience to take away from the show?
Well, I mean, whenever you're making music, you want people to leave being changed, and this beautiful music and this beautiful story isn't really just ours. I think for Rob and I, the essence of the whole thing is that anyone sitting in the audience at any time in the show can relate to any of the messages. So while it's specific to our story, it really resonates with everyone sitting there. And then having it inspired by one of the most well-known musical experiences in terms of a classic movie really ties us all in together, because you have a one of the first memories that we all remember seeing on screen is The Wizard of Oz. So having that inspired, and then coupling it with the classics of like Yesterday and Rob's originals, there's something for everyone in this show, and I think that's why it's been resonating so beautifully.
What was unbelievable after the first show we had done, we noticed coming out of the dressing room and greeting people that people were very emotional, to the point of tears. But they weren't. It wasn't sadness. It was almost like a cleansing. Like everyone kind of needed a good cry to kind of connect with other people there that night, and to just hear a story that resonated with theirs. So it's Rob and I we talked about it for days after the show. We couldn't believe it. I mean, almost everyone was just very emotional after the show because they found something in themselves in the show.
It was bigger than us. It was bigger than you and me. It was, also, it's never too late to, we talk about it all the time. Like you're exactly where you're supposed to be when you're at where you are, if that makes any sense. And I think that's another great, theme of the show. And I think that's another takeaway.
You're exactly where you're supposed to be when you at where you are. Yeah, I think that's very, very relatable. So where did this idea come from, and what are the where did this idea come from, and what are the future plans for the show?
That's a great question. I had basically retired. I spent 20 plus years producing records and writing songs, and I had my fill and I was done. And but Robin and I stayed in touch, and Robin had reached out to me, asking if I wanted to do a show, and I can't say no to Robin, but there's no saying no to Robin. So after, but when we talked about it shortly after, I'm like, well, let's not do a show. Let's do something a little bit more. Let's have a theme. Let's bring people in a certain way. So it started developing, into something else. And she said to me early on, she said a friend of hers asked her who the scarecrow was in her life. Who was that person who stood by her on the journey the whole way? That real friend. And I'm like, that's that. Now we're getting somewhere. That's something right there. So that's when we pulled in the Wizard of Oz, and it all just started to come together.
It's an interesting exercise when you think about it, and that's your homework, both of you. I want you to go home
Who's
and
your
think
scarecrow?
about who's the Tin Man, who's the Scarecrow, who's the Wizard. You know, we
'Cause
all
we all have
have
'em,
those
yeah.
characters, and you know, it's just that's how it all that's how it happened.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that framework, and you guys are right. I do think, you know, and which I think was what made Wizard of Oz so beloved in the first place, is because everybody does have those characters in their life, and you know, which the movie, you know, completely shows with the farmhands turning into each of those characters. So
Yeah.
really, really does reflect it. And I think that's a very cool way to approach something. I was looking online last night. I saw one show is sold out. Are there any tickets still available, and how do people get them?
There is one show that has a few tickets available, and that's on the 23rd, I believe. That's the Friday night. And Eventbrite is one place you can get them. You can get them right on the website as well.
Okay.
You can click on the website, and it brings you to Eventbrite. So there are a few, but there's not many, only maybe a handful left.
All
for
right,
that
so
night.
if they want them, they got to get on it.
Kinda.
Robin, thank you so much for your time today. We absolutely appreciate it. The show sounds
Thank you.
really magical and fantastic, really interesting. Thanks again, and we hope you have a great weekend and break a leg on your show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I think that's such a cool framework, don't you? With the Wizard of Oz and who's your scarecrow?
It is a very cool concept, yeah, and to bring that, you know, whole musical theater right here in your backyard in New Jersey, and to have even more of that connection emotionally with your audience. How cool is that?
Yeah, really beautiful. And even if you just log onto the website, the way they have it set, and we saw some of the pictures, you know, with kind of like the scenery of Oz plays in the background behind them as they're performing these songs. It's really, really fascinating. It looks like a really great show. Well, you are watching the New Jersey Morning Show, and you can watch us on demand on Roku or Fire TV and online at ONNJ.com.